Hi, good morning. This is Claudia from Prime Tech Support. We are here today to talk about one of the computers that we got. Is on one of the new ones, MacBook Pros. It has 1706. This unit, it had a liquid damage. The guy that brought it here, he went to Apple store, and then they said that they couldn't fix it because it had a liquid damage. There is no power was coming into the unit. It was no negotiating through the USB-C. So we have to, we took it in. We are working on it at the moment. And let me show you how it looks like. And this is the logic board. We have two. This is the one for the customer. And this is one that we have for parts here. Then we remove those two chips that you can see here in the back. We use this camera over here so we can see the screen. You see those two chips were removed. And then we use also, we have to use the schematics and the board view. This is the board view, and this is the schematics of that logic board. And then we have here Hector that is working with doing the revolving. As you can see, it's a very, very, very detailed work. We have one here that is already done. Once that is going to be completed, we're going to replace those two electronic components. That is right now is that component over there, the one that we're replacing, the U3200. And here we have the schematic of that component on the logic board. And this is how it looks like, the board, the computer. Right now it's without the board because we're doing the work. A little bit complex, but that's how we do it. You see he's using those little tin balls. Those are the ones that he's using. Hopefully you can see them, yeah. And those are the ones that are replaced right there. So we are in the process of replacing it. So how we determine that those two components were the problem? Those two? Because when we test it, we have a tester over here that allows us to see if the power is going through. So when we connect that device to the computer, it was not negotiating the 20 volts that is necessary to power up the unit because the unit had a liquid damage. So once our tech right there, he followed the board view, because the board view allows us to tell us what components are connected to which. And then he saw the short, and then the short was related to those two components. We also use this camera that we have here to be able to see those components that you're seeing over there in a bigger screen right here. So we can work a little bit better when we're doing those repairs. As I mentioned before, the guys from Apple told the customer that there's no way to repair these units. We are in the process of getting it repaired, and hopefully we can finish it by the end of the day. The problem here is that we received the unit when the water was there for a few days. So the sooner that we get the computers, and the sooner that we get the computer that have liquid damage, the better it's going to be for us to repair. What type of liquid is asking somebody over there? It was water, regular water. They spilled the water over the keyboard, but the keyboard wasn't that affected. It was basically on the logic board, on the power management area, which is right here. You see, those are the USB-C. Over there we see the USB-C ports, and those are the ones that are directly connected to it. We're going to be removing these two, and we're going to be replacing it with those two components over there that we are working at the moment. They're almost done for what we can see. We're going to put it to the heat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to put the unit to the heat. Let me Let me take you back over there where we do that part. So it's another area of the business. We go here in the back. I'm gonna show you the way that we have this. So we put them in under the heat is under 240 degrees. Once the process is completed, we're gonna take those two components, the U3200s, and replace them and put them into the logic board. As I mentioned before, we have to remove those components from the other logic board so we can complete the process. And then we're gonna have to do the testing, just make sure that everything works well. Or sometimes, like it happens, once you repair one area, then you go to the next one because something else is short. But definitely, we are pretty much sure that that's the problem. And then the problem of power. Without power, there is no way to do anything else on the unit until we get the power back. So that's the first step that we're doing on this repair. Let me see how it's going over there. So it seems that it's almost done. I'll show you what is basically they're melting. Now we're gonna go back to the lab. We got everything back. We're gonna review them under the microscope one more time. Make sure that everything is showing okay. This requires a lot of patience. And then the thing with this component is that this one doesn't have stencils. Okay, the stencils are right here. Let me show you what we have. We have different stencils, you see, that allow us to do that work that you're seeing over there. This one, see, for different components. So we have the stencils, so for quite different logic boards, we have the numbers and everything on it. So those stencils allow us to do the work faster, but in this case, for this component, we have to do it manually. Some of them, you have to do it manually. So it's a piece of work, like what you're seeing right now. Very detailed work. It's making sure everything is well located. Well, we had one of the components that was the revolving was being done was okay, but the other one we have to do work again, try to fix it, and then bring it back here to make sure it's working. So we had, as we mentioned before, we have two logic boards. One, the old one that we use for parts, which is that one over there, and the second one, which is this one. This is the customer logic board. And we had to, what we did, you see, we removed two components, and then we did the revolving on two of them. So the ones that we're gonna be installing are these two. So for the ones that were in here before, we found a power management error on the USB-C. Didn't have any power, and at the moment what we're doing is basically replacing those two components. And we're gonna, after we do that, we're gonna test the logic board to see if we can get the 20 volts. The negotiation was not going through, so we're gonna be doing that. So the tech is in the process of installing those two components to it. Okay, we had to put some green max over here, that one that we use to get the logic board ready so we can install the new components. This component is the U3200, and we're gonna be doing that part in a few